Good afternoon, dear friends. We meet again for a series of new predictions for the year 2020. As you know, we are all tested at the moment. Our souls are tested to get more united, more loving, and more awakened. And I do this to support us on this transition to become more awakened people. As you probably know, there's a 5-year cycle that started at the end of last year. So we have another 4 years ahead of us, 4.5 years ahead of us of change. And during that change, people like me will be channeling information to help others. And the test of our souls is to create more unity, more awakening, and more love between all of us as a humanity. So, channeling is not always very precise. Sometimes predictions happen, sometimes they don't. But recently I've been quite accurate. That is why I would like to share from this knowledge to help others. The last 4 predictions I made were very accurate. In particular, the prediction in September in Lebanon that there will be a financial crisis. And I asked people then to withdraw their money from the banks. And effectively 40 days later, the banks went into shutdown mode and people's money have been blocked there. And the currency has devalued. So anybody who left their money in the bank has lost its value. The second prediction was just before Christmas time, when I foresaw that there would be a shock to humanity in March, and that shock happened to be the coronavirus starting then. The third event that I foresaw was the passing of some object like a meteorite above the skies of Canada, and that happened to be the Neowise comet that was more or less seen in April, and it was visible to the naked eye in June and July and finished its dance above the skies in Canada in July. The fourth and last prediction, the saddest of all, was the one I've done in June, that there be a major disaster hitting the city of Beirut and asking people to leave the city and that the city will be half destroyed. And this disaster did not happen in September as I foresaw, but happened a few weeks earlier. So from this series of channeling that were quite accurate, today I'm here with you to help us all together work towards transitioning this period in the best possible way. So I'll be talking to you about the world, about the United States, and about Lebanon. So these are the 3 areas I would like to touch base to do. Regarding the world, the cities will become more and more uncomfortable to live in. There'll be a lot of fear, a lot of depression, and there'll be a lot of also challenges and maybe violence, because some people might want to inflict a forced vaccine on others for maybe a vaccine that has not been tested properly. So people might rebel because of that, and this action will be mainly in cities, so it's better not to be in the city. And nature, countryside would be a better place to be, and people will be a little bit lost all over the place, and it's important that they get back into spiritual groups. As the Hopi prophecy says, spiritual groups will help people to cross through these moments of difficulty, of tension, and of depression. Regarding the cities, it's also very important to work on your immune system. So basically, making sure that you're getting the nice fresh air, you're getting the sunlight, you're getting the right foods for your body, so that your body be very strong to withhold whatever's coming ahead of us. In regards to phase 2, as I mentioned, it has started. Phase 2 would start after a sign would be going over Canada. So that was this meteor that was very clear and very apparent. The Comet Neowise appeared over Canada. Sorry, comet, not the meteor. And the comet does a circle around us every 7,000 years, so it does not come every day. And it's very, very rare to see a comet with the naked eye, and this one was very clear and naked for everybody. It was like a divine sign for all the parts of the world. There was no part of the world it did not go to. And it finished its dance over Canada. And in my prediction from December last year, when this object will be there around the middle of the year, then there's no more time and things will happen very fast after that. So with the Comet Neowise happening in July, we know now that we are very much into the second phase, and challenging events will happen very, very quickly. So all preparations towards going to the countryside and preparations towards connecting in spiritual groups have to be done now. Regarding the United States of America, as I said, on the 4th of June, the country will be a bit split according to the 1865 Civil War split between different parts of the country. Don't get involved in that. Don't get involved into any violence or any fights or things like that. Just keep to yourself. And this is going to continue as we get into the elections. The elections, unfortunately, will be very disappointing. I don't know what it means, but the word I heard is disappointment. And the second thing I heard is lack of direction. So the country will be disappointed and a lack of direction after the elections. So just brace for that, and as I said, get together into family groups, friends, support each other emotionally, spiritually, morally. Do not go into violence, just protect yourself from that point of view. A good thing that will happen in America is people getting back to nature, connecting with nature, spending more time in nature. Somehow of a revival of the Native American spirits, of all the Native American Indians that roam this land. It is their land from the beginning of times. You know, the white man came over and took over that land, but you can take over the physical land, but you cannot take over the spirit of the land. So somehow the spirit of the land, the spirit of all of these Native Americans is actually reincarnating again in the existing people, and the people will feel compelled to go to nature, connect with Mother Earth, eat better foods, not pollute anymore, not destroy anymore, you know, not killing everything that's there, you know, just working in more harmony and balance with Mother Earth. We will see this very strongly in the States. So, you know, you always have the good and bad powers fighting at the same time. So the good power of people going back to Mother Earth will be very apparent. Regarding the Middle East, I saw two main things. First of all, Europe will be intervening more in the Middle East. And in particular, there'll be also some new intervention. Somebody new will intervene in Syria. And in Syria at the moment, the conflict involves the Americans, the Russians, the Iranians, and the Israelis. There'll be some other power, maybe from Europe, maybe from other place, coming in that conflict to change the game. And Europe overall will be more interested in Middle Eastern affairs and being more present, maybe as a pacifying kind of, you know, force. I'm not sure what they're going to do, but this is what is happening there. In regards to Lebanon, my beloved country, unfortunately, the prediction I made on the 4th of June of a devastating event that would wipe out half of Beirut has happened. And I was trying all the time to warn people about it, and unfortunately it has happened. And I had seen it happening at the end of August and the beginning of September, but it has happened at the beginning of August. So now what is next for Lebanon? What's next for Lebanon? For Lebanon, I saw a black hand over Beirut, and when I asked the question, what is this black hand? I heard the word disease and the word cholera. So it could be that some disease will, you know, explode in that part of the world, would start again in that part of the world. So be extremely careful. As I said, if you can be living out of the city, do it. And be extremely careful with all the waters and the hygiene. Make sure that you put detergent in all the waters, you know, the waters in the bathrooms, toilet, showers, and the water that you drink is of the best quality, because some problem is coming that way. From a general point of view, the country will be quiet for 6 months, and the second shock to the country will be between December and January. So we had the first shock now, the second one is between December and January, and then we're going to have 12 months of quiet, and then there's going to be a last shock at the end of 2021. Some people ask me, why these shocks? Why is this happening? Why is God punishing the country, or are people jealous and sending us the bad eye? That's not the case. We have to heal as a nation. We as a nation have to heal. We have two very serious diseases, two very serious dividers. First of all, we have a disease that has to do with the fact that we are divided between ourselves by our religion. Religion, which is supposed to be an act of connecting with God, has actually become an act of apartheid between different people. They don't talk to each other. We have some kind of apartheid in Lebanon. Yeah. So all of these are people of God. How you can have this people and that people and this God and this other God who are all one? But still the divide is there, and people hate each other from one community to the other, and that's not right. And we will need enough shocks, enough tests to our country, unfortunately, to wake up and stop this. The second disease we have is the separation between rich and poor. We have such a separation and such a lack of compassion from the rich people. It's not acceptable anymore. How is it acceptable that somebody will spend $5,000 or $10,000 to buy a handbag while people are dying and some people are killing themselves because they cannot buy a piece of bread? How is that possible? This type of, extremes and lack of compassion will have to break. So we need 2 more shocks so that our people stop doing that. So that our people start becoming more loving, more compassionate, more giving, more supportive to each other. And the shock is equivalent to the amount of darkness that we have in Lebanon. There's so much darkness, so much corruption, that Only shocks like what we had will stop it. And unfortunately, the first shock was not enough, and 2 more shocks are coming on the way. So the remedy for that is to be more united, more loving to each other, and to move out of the city. So what is the general remedy? What is the general attitude for us ahead of this? Because whenever you have a problem, you always have a solution. The first thing is, again, the recommendation to leave the city and position yourself, relocalize yourself in the countryside, any part of the world. Do whatever you can. Some people cannot do it, that's fine, but those who can do it should do it. And start being more close to nature through your way of living. Don't pollute, eat healthy foods, spend time in nature. All of this is part of getting back to nature. The second part is about hygiene. Your hygiene has to be to the best. And remember, all these diseases, all these problems live in water. The corona and other things, they live in water. Make sure all your waters have detergent in them. The waters in the toilets, the waters in the toilets, the waters in the showers, the waters in the kitchen, the water that you wash yourself with, and more importantly, the water that you drink has to be of the best possible quality. The third thing is, following the Hopi prophecy, is unite in spiritual groups. Remember, spirituality is not about faith. They can be together, but they're not the same. Faith is a set of belief systems. Spirituality is the act of connecting with the universe from your heart. Join spiritual groups, whether they are spiritual groups, in a city, or spiritual groups with Mother Earth like the Native American Indians used to do. It doesn't matter. Just do them, because this will give you moral, spiritual, and emotional support, and physical support to what we're going to go through. The last item, and the most important one, is karma. Everyone's karma is accelerated. So all the good things and all the bad things that our ancestors did, we have to live them or pay the price for them, plus everything else that we do. So anytime that you have the chance of helping another, morally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, materially, or in any other way, and you don't do it, you'll unfortunately have a price for that. So it's very important that now we change altogether, because this 5-year cycle, as I mentioned, is about becoming better humans, more awakened, more loving, and more united. Thank you for listening, and I hope I've helped you and clarified the path ahead. And you are welcome to get in touch with me, and I send you lots of love, and stay connected and stay strong.